Welcome to Table Talk episode number 2. I'm your host, Kessyl. I'm sorry if the topic seems a little too intimidating, but honestly, this is what I've been thinking to myself recently. Being a 23-year-old, I'm just fumbling with my life, searching high and low, asking myself, really, what do I want for my own life? You might be 24 this year or even younger, or you might be 50 or 60, and still you ask yourself the same questions like I've asked myself. What can I contribute to the society? Or even with what you're doing right now, is this what you really want? Or which direction you should be taking? Or what changes should you make in your life? As my curiosity builds up and the frustrations kind of like took over me, I set out to ask the same 3 questions and I sent it to 20 people. They might be 27 this year or even 57, but they've been there and done that. The questions are, number 1, I asked them, when you were 24 years old, what were you doing? As in job-wise or education-wise? And at that time, did you already know that what you wanted to do or become? And the second question was, if you do know, how did you find out? And if you do not know, were there any kind of frustrations? Or what were you feeling and how they were dealing with those thoughts? And then finally is, what are they doing right now for a living? Let's listen in and watch the video.
I never knew what field I really kind of wanted to get into, and I still don't entirely, but I know that it's some creative marketing role, and I really like creating content and curating content and understanding what audiences like to engage with. But it wasn't until recently under the graduate program that I'm currently in that I discovered that. And I think that how I handle frustrations of not knowing where my passions lie or the difficulties within my job is, I kind of take comfort in the fact that I understand that everyone is kind of going through a similar struggle and trying to understand what they like and how they can kind of train their skill set and their craft and talent. So I take comfort in that, and I just try to stay positive and get better at what I do.
24 was a long time ago for me. It was 1985, and I was working at a TV station in Evansville, Indiana, in the news department. Perhaps I knew that I would like being a college professor, but I wasn't sure it was ever going to happen. I was enjoying working in the news, and so I wasn't really frustrated. I was just waiting for an opportunity. And when that came along in my mid-30s, I took it. And now I am a college professor of journalism at Marsh University.
When I was 24, I had already started working in New York as a paralegal. At that time, I already know that my interest is in research, and I want to become a professor, just like what my parents are doing for a living. I still decided to work in a law firm for several years because I thought I should still explore other options, things that I have not experienced or thought about in the past. Maybe I will have new ideas in a couple of years. Now 2.5 years have passed since I started my job in New York as a paralegal. I believe I am more confident about my decision 2.5 years ago because I think the business world is not a good fit for my personality and my interest, even though I am very grateful for the experience that I acquired in the past 2.5 years. Next year, I will apply for graduate school.
When I was 24 years old, I was still in college, working on my forensic science degree. And I guess I always wanted to become a forensic scientist since I was 13 years old, since I started watching CSI, or CSI Miami, CSI New York. I guess the frustration was that the fact that the shows, they didn't, they weren't very accurate. So I realized while in college that I had to take a lot of science courses and math, physics. Ugh, I hated physics. And I don't know, how did I deal with those thoughts? Honestly, I guess like in a way I didn't, because I let it like consume me. Well, for now, for a living, I'm working at a doctor's office for gastroenterology and hepatology. I'm a Spanish speaker. Spanish translator. Um, and I also, I guess, start the medical billing process, or the medical claims, actually, for the procedures done in our office, such as colonoscopy, endoscopy, hemorrhoid treatment, and let's see. I also put in, wow, what don't I do? I also do like administrative work. I put in anesthesia um, explanation of benefits on an Excel sheet and send it to an anesthesiologist biller. Um, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
I was a student at the age of 24, and I had no idea what my future would be like. I was frustrated in the fact that I don't even know what I want to be, what I like, what I am good at, and so forth. I fell behind compared to those who have their career path. Currently, I am not working, but trying to apply for a job soon. Although the path won't be that easy, but hopefully I will find a job that makes me happy in the end.
And so that was their story. I really loved how it's so raw, and everybody had their own different journey, and everyone just shared what they were feeling when they were 24. Maybe they are 27 this year, or 26, or even, like I said, 57. But we are going to have part 2 again on Wednesday. But here's the story from a man who is 54 this year. He happened to email me and not send it in audio form. It's pretty long, but I'm just going to read it to you guys. This is his answer. He says, "This is interesting to answer at this point in time because on Tuesday I will be 54, meaning that I had to think about what I was doing 30 years ago. I was 1 year out of college. I graduated in 1987 with an education degree, physical education K-12 and general science 7 to 12. I had completed my first year of teaching. I taught 7th to 9th grade science in a junior high. It was a good situation and I liked the students and the school. I had not considered future education with the exception of taking a graduate level class on careers because the school I was teaching in had assigned me to teach a career exploration class and it had a specific training for that. I was doing what I thought I should be doing, working with kids in school, coaching girls' junior high basketball, and working in a church. That was the unique thing. In the summer of 1987, right out of college, I needed a job and the church asked me to be there as a summer youth pastor. That's for 12 weeks. When I took a teaching job, they asked if I would stay on to be a bivocational youth pastor, and so I did. I worked a minimal schedule during the school year, still conducting meetings on Wednesday and Sunday and teaching school. In one sense, I had the perfect situation, doing what I thought God had called me to do with students in the church and using my degree. I wanted to work with students in any capacity and I was getting that chance. 1988 was also the summer Beth, as in referring to his wife, and I got married, so that added to the excitement because we were both teaching and coaching and working with students. So as a couple, we felt like we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. I did feel I was getting to do what I always wanted to do. For me, the biggest frustration was that I was in the classroom all the time and did not get to use my physical education degree, which I preferred. Because of that, I was, quote, looking for other teaching positions and one opened up. A high school closer to home, St. Albans, opened up and I applied. It was a perfect job teaching physical education half of the time and practical chemistry physics the other half. It was a great combination and there was a baseball position open. So I got a new position for teaching and coaching. That change really took care of a lot of my frustrations. Moving to this high school meant I was de-aligned with older students who wanted to learn and make a difference in society. That was good. I was surrounded with quality people who wanted to help me with my teaching and coaching. I had adult mentors in the school system and my pastor at church was wonderful. That was the biggest way I dealt with frustrations was to seek the advice of godly people. They walked with me and challenged me along the way. God was a big part of that and trying to fulfill the call He had placed in my life. I was fortunate that in teaching and youth ministry, things were going well and I was getting more opportunities to grow and do more. After 3 years of teaching, the West Virginia school system began teacher cutbacks, and because of my lack of seniority, I was one of those released. It was a good thing and a God thing. My church hired me to be there as a full-time youth pastor. And so the God thing is that I went to be the church youth leader for 12 weeks and left 9 years later. Since May 1999, I have been employed by the West Virginia Baptist Convention. I have had several positions: Director of Camping and Youth Director, Director of Discipleship and Director of Camping, Conference and Youth, and now Director of Student Ministries. All of those have included students from 6th to 12th grade and the West Virginia Baptist Camp at Calvin. The other changes were when they added the Conference Center and Adult Discipleship and etc. Now I'm working as a Director of Student Ministries, working with students from grades 6 throughout college. My job includes supervising the camp, youth ministries, and college ministries across the state. I also have the opportunity to teach youth ministry around the world. India is a place I teach in a lot, but also other countries if I was invited. As for education-wise, I've finished all of my classwork, and hopefully will be completing my dissertation and will have a doctorate of executive leadership before next year. It just amazes me like how as I'm 23 this year, to read a story he's 54 this year and he still learned at this age, and there are still frustrations even though he's at this point and in his life, and it really encourages me. So if you're 24, you're 25, you're 26, you're 30, you're 40, and you still don't have it all figured out, I think that's okay as a conclusion as I seek out to do this story. And of course, we have more on Wednesday, and we will continue to find out and to explore together. That's all the time we have for today. I'm Kessyl, and I'll see you tomorrow.